In honor of this being our first video review for a PSP game, we thought we'd take it in widescreen. Anyway, Lumines is a puzzle game designed by Tetsuya Mizuguchi, who previously worked on a bunch of video game cult classics like Rez and Space Channel 5. It looks similar to Tetris at first, and it's just as easy to pick up and start playing. But Lumines turns out to have some incredible depth to it, much more variety than you'd expect, and a really great presentation. I've had a great time playing Lumines since I first started playing, and I feel like there's still much more than I can get out of the game. With the possible exception of WarioWare, which is awesome and everything, but it's more of an action game, I can safely say that I haven't had such a good time with any other puzzle game since the original Tetris created this whole genre. I've just kept coming back to the single-player challenge mode time after time, though the versus mode against the computer plays quite differently and is also a lot of fun if you want a faster-paced game. The one thing about these modes is that you play through the levels in the same order every time, though that's really not a big deal. You can also play on any of the levels you've unlocked, and there's an interesting puzzle mode too. Better yet, you can play the versus mode against other people using the PSP's built-in Wi-Fi support, which can be a ton of fun. The gameplay in Lumines seems really simple. Squares consisting of 4 blocks fall down the screen, and you have to arrange the blocks to form solid-colored rectangles. A line called the timeline, meanwhile, keeps wiping across the screen, eliminating the solid rectangles you've formed. This is how you earn points, and how you keep the playing field from getting buried. The controls are tight and responsive, which is maybe what you'd expect, but it really helps when the pace picks up and you need to start making every moment count. Versus mode has an extra added twist in that you have sort of a tug of war with your opponent as you try to push the border of the screen away from you. This gives you more room and your opponent less room, so you're basically fighting for territory, all while trying to keep your area clear. The game's depth comes from a variety of different factors. First, you've got the special blocks, which cause all consecutive blocks of the same color to light up when you form them into rectangles. This is where you can set up some really amazing screen-clearing combos that send your score through the roof. It's really rewarding to land one of these screen-clearing combos, and it's also fun to play this game while really trying to think ahead for that next big combo opportunity whenever it's going to come. Another interesting feature is that the game grows more challenging not just from blocks falling faster and faster, but from the rate of the timeline moving across the screen. Along with how the presentation of the game completely changes from level to level, the graphics, the music, the sound effects, everything, the changes of tempo really give each level its own feel. That's one of my favorite things about the game, because it just helps keep a lot of variety going in the gameplay, whereas most other puzzle games just kind of get faster and faster, but become pretty predictable. Lumines might look like some kind of gussied-up puzzle game, but it's really got an amazing design under the hood. It's a ton of fun to play, and it's actually got a lot of personality and plenty of charm, despite having sort of this abstract look to it. This isn't going to be the flashiest of the PSP's launch titles, even though it's got a great sense of style, but I can totally see this being the game that new PSP owners keep on playing after the honeymoon's over with all the rest.